Hey, this is Mark Taylor with NBC4 News. You're listening to the Arena Guy's Backstage Pass podcast with Gary the Arena Guy and Dave Redelberger.
They're knocking the rust off because it's been a few months because the Schottenstein Center is undergoing some renovation, and so we had to pack away all the equipment, and we recently got it out. We dug it out like an archaeologist. That's a loose tie into Jurassic World that we'll be talking about later.
Yes, indeed. Oh, man, I got to tell you, it has been a wild little run here of trying to just, find space to work even here at the Schott, and it's been great after the big 20-year anniversary. It's great. But I see today that somehow you dug into the archives because brought out some cool stuff from some recent shows. I got my Willie Nelson coffee mug here to drink out of. Our special guest that you'll introduce has an ELO mug, and I don't know where you found that, but is that it's a Queen T-shirt, right? Just
recently. One of the best shows. I mean, we've had a lot of great shows, but this was definitely one of the best shows we've had in quite a while.
The Queen plus Adam Lambert. I'm telling you, that was one of those nights. It was one of those magic nights where if you weren't here, you saw your friends posting about it on social, and you're like, oh, I should have gone, but we couldn't have sold got another person in the arena if we wanted to. It was just crazy. But one of the neat things from that show is talking with Mark, one of our operations guys at Nationwide Arena, who saw Queen at St. John Arena in 77, 78, right? And he said, it was just as good. That's a big statement. I mean, Adam's no Freddie, but he held his own, man. That was a magic night.
We can talk about Adam Lambert coming up. But I want to also let everyone know today that we'll be talking about some of the past shows. We'll also be talking about Jurassic World Live. It's a huge tour that will be kicking off here in Columbus at the Schottenstein Center. It's been so long I haven't talked in a while.
You call it the Schott.
The Schott, yeah, and it is a major production kicking off here in Columbus. So we'll talk about that too. And we've got a special guest in the studio. We'll say hi to him right now. Former high school superstar, track star, and NBC4 sports director, Jerod Smalley. How you doing, Jerod?
That is the best description of my athletic career.
Yes.
Former something. Guy that used to be, the guy that sweats at the gym relentlessly now trying to keep up.
Were you a big track guy in high school?
Yeah, big track. And my dad was our track and football coach.
Okay.
So it was a big deal to our family growing up. And then my mom was the high school band director. So Friday nights in our house, you can imagine how big a deal that was. And my brother was exactly 4 years older than me. So for 8 consecutive years, one of us was playing on Friday night. And it was just an enormous deal. Community-wise, I grew up in a pretty good-sized high school, but in a small place in West Virginia. And it was culturally important. And it's kind of one of the reasons I think I ended up doing what I wanted to do professionally, because I found something that I was just like, this is unique and cool, and it's ours.
Yeah, sure. And, I grew up in a small town also back in Illinois where, again, the sports, that Friday night activity, that was what was culturally important in that town. And I tried to run. I got kicked off the cross-country team in high school. True story, real quick.
Why?
Well, the girls would run. It was the only co-ed sport, which is why I did it. And then the girls at some point on the course would then I wanted to be culturally important in my town, right? My dad wanted me to have the high school letter jacket, and so I was like, I'll do cross country. But at some point on the cross country during practices, the girls split off and did a different course, and I would always run with the girls instead of going the longer route with the guys because I'd be working my game with some
right.
And my coach said I was an embarrassment to the team, and
no, I think that's too strong. I mean, I think even he understood the purpose,
right?
That's classless.
That's funny. But you are downplaying your track ability. You were a state
Well, I was on a really good team.
Athlete, right?
I mean, yeah, I was. So people, when they see me now, this is hilarious, but I was a shot putter and discus thrower and a hammer thrower. I was a much bigger human being back then. I was about 250 pounds. Now I'm about 170.
Okay.
And I would never have guessed.
Yeah, and most people would be like, yeah, it's hilarious. So at one point I was a state champion in West Virginia in the shot put, and then I walked on at Marshall and had a pretty decent college career. I was okay. I mean, I usually finished, we were in the MAC back then.
Okay.
So playing, we had meets with OU and Miami and BG and Toledo and all them, and I usually would finish about the middle of the pack in the shot put, which was actually pretty good because the MAC was really good at track, and they still are very good. But I was getting whipped, man. I mean, we're talking like the guys would come off the football team after spring ball, would show up and start to throw, and these dudes are, 6'7", and 290, 300 pounds, and there I am. At that point, I was starting to lose weight. It was actually my last year. I had my best season, and I was my lightest. I was at 200 pounds.
200 pounds?
But the shot put at that point is 16 pounds.
Say that's a good percentage of your body weight.
So, yeah, like I felt pretty good about things. Like, I'm all right. That's okay. But, I was proud of it. It was a good thing to do. The other thing it does is it keeps you focused, keeps you engaged. And I met friends I still have today from the track team. I mean, guys that, I still, message on Facebook or whatever, and we all kind of keep up with each other, and it's a cool little fraternity.
That's very cool.
That's cool. So how long, at what point did you become interested in broadcasting?
So this is I think a fun story for any kid or any parent of a kid who doesn't know what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because that was me. I was a senior in high school. I was taking AP biology classes, and I was always kind of like the funny guy. But not like a class clown type, just kind of like the guy who would, the sarcastic quips or whatever,
right.
And whatever. So, so we had a charity basketball game my senior year, a charity basketball game, and they needed somebody to run the PA. They needed somebody to announce the game, and they wanted a student to do it. And naturally, every teacher who I had in class was like, "Oh, you need to go do that." And so I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. Because at that point, I'm thinking maybe I want to do stand-up, or maybe I want to be a comedy writer, or maybe whatever. So I go to the game, and there was one teacher in particular, Mr. Desmond, who was wearing what in the 1970s would have been considered very common running shorts. They were, I would guess maybe 3 inches in length.
Yeah. You see that old basketball footage. And
yes.
It's really hilarious.
Yeah, like sub Larry Bird length shorts.
Yeah.
And all I did basically for the next hour was make fun of him. That was it. I mean, I threw some hammock jokes out there and whatever it was. And anyway, got people laughing. But I enjoyed the mic part. I enjoyed the command of it. And I enjoyed being on my feet and having to think of something new to say, not just to react, but to, engage and get to the next thing.
Right.
It just so happened that I had a buddy who I played football with in high school whose dad was the dean of the communications school at Marshall, journalism school there. That's in my hometown in Huntington, West Virginia. And that summer, he and I took a 1-hour radio shift every week at the college radio station. And after the first shift, I was like, I'm doing this. I had not declared a major at that point. I was getting ready to go into Marshall. I was like, this is going to be the thing that I do.
Just got in your blood.
It did.
Yeah.
And then the television thing just evolved off that. But I always loved when the red light goes on and you're recording, that challenge of don't suck.
Yeah, right.
And I'm serious about that. I mean, there is a
we
that
are
is
too.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to that, and I enjoy that challenge. It's like when an athlete goes out on the court and the game starts. That's what they enjoy most. It's how they get excited about the thing that they're most passionate about in their life.
Yes.
And that's what I look at this as being for me. Like, it's just sort of, I like figuring it out every day.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always stuck with.
And there's an energy to figuring it out when that microphone's on, right? I mean, you're doing a lot of your stuff live all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like there's an adrenaline and energy that goes with that. Probably very similar to the live concert business.
Yeah, it is. I'd imagine so.
Do you still get a little anxious or something before? I mean,
I don't.
Nervous, but you get a little adrenaline rush before you know that you're going on.
No, I don't for a typical newscast or what. No, that doesn't happen anymore. But if I'm doing something out live or I'm doing something at a bigger event, say I'm doing in the Olympics or Super Bowl or Final Four or something that I've had a very fortunate opportunity to go do.
I know.
Those are the ones that you're always thinking about who else is watching or I haven't done this. In any uncomfortable situation like that, there is that little bit of anxiety, but I guess it's not really anxiety. It's more eager. You're not afraid of it, but you just want to do a good job. And so, sometimes in those situations, but otherwise not that bad.
So do you try to inject a little bit of humor in your sportscast a little bit?
Just a little
I mean, you're up against a guy who's the punniest guy in Columbus, Mark Taylor.
Who, Taylor?
Yeah.
Taylor's got a pun for every pun.
I know.
And
I thought I was the king of puns until lately, on television. Then when he was on this podcast too a few months ago.
Yeah.
King of the puns.
Yeah. What's funny, like a lot of there's certain people who work in television who are just really good at that. Ben Gelber is extraordinary at it. And it's with Ben, it's like so dry. You don't know it's coming.
Mellow.
It's so mellow, but it is hilarious if you listen to what he says.
He is so funny.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, he's Bob Newhart dry.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And so hilarious.
And it's just absolutely hilarious guy. And yeah, Mark's very similar to that. Mark is so funny and very creative like that. And if you follow him on social media, you'll get that. You'll get a full dose of it. Big Taylor Swift fan.
He's a Swiftie.
Yeah.
And what's especially funny is when he makes a great pun on the air and makes Colleen and maybe you or Dave laugh. He's very proud of himself.
Mm-hmm. There is that moment of celebration, that celebratory silence that nailed it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. You've covered Ohio State and sports here in Columbus for 13 years at NBC4. Is my understanding?
Yeah, I've been there. See, I got there in 2004, so 15 years
Holy
now.
Cow.
This will be my 16th football season.
So you've had
I'm
a lot
an
of
old man.
you've had a lot of cameramen over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite?
A favorite photographer?
Yeah, cameraman, a guy who recorded you.
Well, boy, they're all pretty good.
This hurts my feelings.
Well, I mean, the arena guy was pretty good.
There we go. See,
I don't know this story.
Go ahead. Do you remember?
Go ahead.
Because you forgot.
No.
I don't think he did.
Tell me the exact.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, the exact location.
Every year, it was right here at the Schott.
Mm-hmm.
Every year before the Ohio State basketball tournament, at center court, there's a light outline image of
that's
the state
right.
of Ohio,
Yeah.
and we put down stars in the exact geographic location of the teams that are participating. And you came. Nowadays, a lot of times reporters are their own cameraman.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it used to be you'd have a cameraman
In the
all
old
the time.
days.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
But I wanted you to put a star down, and you were anxious to do that and get that on camera.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a cameraman, so I volunteered. And my camera work, the arena guy's camera work, made it on NBC4.
That's true.
There you go.
That is
Big time.
100%. I can confirm this story. What's funny about that is, it's just one of those ways that our business is so different now. But our objective is that the audience doesn't know that.
Right.
Our objective is to make sure that you don't think that the quality's different, or you don't think, that looks kind of shady or whatever. No, I want you to think that everything has a million people working on it.
Right.
It's not like that. We're a business like any other business that has had, some rises and some falls and some thinning out, especially when it comes to technology. Sure. Things are so much smaller and more accessible, and it's just a little bit easier than they once were, especially in television, as complicated as that is. We've figured out some ways to streamline it. Technology has been a big part of that, and that's a process of that.
Right. I'm a somewhat regular guest on local TV as the arena guy, and so I know this, but a lot of people are really shocked when they see a TV studio for the first time.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
tiny.
Way smaller than it looks on television.
It is. And, it's funny, though. We have 4 cameras in our studio. And of those 4 cameras, we have about 24 different shots we can take in the studio. And that's why it's visual trickery.
Yeah.
Because with that many different looking shots and that many different monitors and those kind of things, you just think there's no way all of those things could be right next to the other.
Right.
And they are. They're all just in the same little circle. But it's efficiency, right? It's like how do you make? They're not intentionally small. It's not like, hey, we got to make this closet, or that's not it.
But you don't need it any bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're efficient with your space, you light it properly, it all works out fine.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question. We're off topic already, but I'm very curious. So you said you've been obviously doing this for many years, and TV, it's a come and go business for a lot of people. But you've been here for a while. What is it about Columbus? It's obviously a great sports city.
Yeah.
But it's got to hold some personal love for you.
No, it does. I was thinking about this the other night. When I first got here 15 years ago, my objective was to work here maybe for a little bit and then go to ESPN. That's really what I thought.
Sure, yeah.
And I was 25 at the time, and I'm like, I'm going to make the big time or whatever. I didn't know what the big time was.
Right.
As I've grown up, I've realized there is no big
Right.
time.
Right.
That's not a thing. It's of your imagination. But when I got here, I was very intent that I wasn't going to stay very long. The reason I came to Columbus was for 2 reasons. My grandparents growing up lived here. And so when we came to the big city, we came to Columbus. And Columbus at that point was a big city, but it was not nearly what it is today, the metropolis that it is. So obviously loved it. And I was like, yeah, great place to go. And my brother and I actually grew up Ohio State fans. We had a Block O flag on our wall growing up.
Very nice.
In West Virginia, we were Buckeye. Oh, yeah, we were big Buckeye fans.
Wow.
But Dave Metzold, who you all know very well, Dave was working at Channel 4 at the time. Dave's best friend is Keith Morehouse, who's the sports director at NBC in Huntington, where I grew up, and was basically my mentor. Keith basically taught me how to do television at a very high level. Keith is one of those guys that he's in a small market, and he will be in a small market, and he is an absolute legend there. He has no desire to go anywhere else, and he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because he is he is one of the best people in television I've ever seen. And that was the guy that I learned from. Dave is his best friend. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to go. And I didn't know Dave very well, but I knew exactly what he was about. Dave and I worked together 1 month. 1 month.
But that was enough.
But that was enough.
That was enough.
But so what happened was Dave leaves Channel 4. I show up. I work for a little bit with Mike Valpredo, who was at the station at the time. Great guy. And then I transitioned over to the main job in 2006. And it was at that point I was like, I'm not leaving. This place is unbelievable. The city is growing. It's this incredible football program. You think, what was 2006? We had number 1 versus number 2, Ohio State, Michigan. I'm like, I'm not going to do any better than that. Right. And then the opportunities it's afforded. Like everything about it has just been crazy. And it's been a wonderful place. I have a great family situation here. I have 2 boys. Love raising them here. Great situation for them. I own a house. Right. And when you think about it, that sounds ridiculous, right?
I just literally bought a house.
Right.
So
because
I know what you mean.
We can do that here.
Yeah.
And when you think about, like, I'm going to go work in Philadelphia. I'm going to go work in, okay, good luck. Your house is $1.9 million for your, 1 bedroom,
Right.
It just, to me, it's a perfect place. And if you love sports and you love having all those amenities, there's not a better place.
No, we are blessed here, and obviously Schottenstein Center Nationwide Arena. Seeing when I came to Columbus, there were no you had St. John Arena, but that was it.
Right.
And so just the growth of the city and the entertainment and the sports, and it's a great place to live, and it's a great place to raise a family.
It's great for you too. Sorry to interrupt
you.
No,
it's okay.
But the crew, the Clippers, OSU sports or our pro sports, really.
Sure.
All the sports in Columbus,
Destroyers.
Ohio's got to be a gold mine for you.
I mean, look at what happened with the Jackets last year. The Jackets win a playoff series for the first time, and the town loses its mind.
Yeah, right.
And it was one of the most fun things I've ever been a part of, to watch them smoke Tampa Bay like they did in the first round. And it gives you a preview of what this town can be.
Right.
We have not seen that yet here. We've obviously, the Ohio State thing is unique. It is separate. It is different.
Very.
It is a cultural thing. A pro sports thing, we've never seen it like it can be at its height. One of the things that I love about living here is the fact that you mentioned Nationwide Arena and the Schottenstein Center. So much entertainment comes into these 2 buildings that you can't imagine being like, really? We've got that show?
I know.
Like, we've got the Queen show. We've got, we had the Stones. We've like all of these incredible shows have rolled into town, and the whole Cowtown thing. Not even.
Yeah,
not even. No. And we're packing the place for the Country Superfest show.
Yeah.
You get 80,000 people in the Schott.
I know, it's crazy.
But it's an incredible fortune that we have to have all of these venues that are so great, and we fill them.
Yeah, and we work here, and we feel the same way. We're talking with
That's true.
NBC4 sports director Jerod Smalley. We're going to Dave and I and Jerod. If you've seen some of these shows, join in too. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to talk about some of those great shows that have played the arenas. But a few more questions with Jerod before we do that. You covered the Olympics.
Yeah.
And you actually came in and we did some Arena Guy videos, interview with that a couple years ago. But what was that experience like, going over there and
I went to Rio
2016,
and it was the best professional experience I've ever had in my life. So here's what I would if you want to try it, you can do it at home. It's very simple. All you got to do is, for 24 consecutive days, work 20 hours a day, catch a bus, go anywhere, go to whatever, catch a bus in the morning, catch a bus at night to get you back to your dorm, go lay down for 3 hours, get back up and do it over again for more than 3 straight weeks.
But you loved it.
And I couldn't, I'm telling you, it was incredible. The cool thing about it is, obviously you see the Olympics on television and you appreciate the athletic competition. When you're there in person, that is not what it's about. Obviously, the sports are great, and you get to see the incredible athletes and things you just would culturally never see. One country has its strength sports. When you go to the Olympics, you see everyone's strength sports. Team handball, I watched in person. I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've never seen team handball live.
Yeah.
It culturally makes you attuned to what the rest of the world does. Two things that stood out to me: the number of languages spoken in the International Media Center, where we were, the broadcast center. I worked in the NBC compound there, and the number of languages you hear on a daily basis when you get off the buses and you come in through security and you're walking through the halls and you're on your way to an event, it's just this incredible influx of language and culture that you see the world. It is overwhelming. Like, you see what the rest of the world really is like. And I had one moment. Kyle Snyder, our gold medalist here for the wrestling team,
great
just
guy,
an
incredible athlete,
incredible performer. So on the last day of the Olympics, this is one of my favorite stories, just to remind you of what you see at the Olympics. So we're covering Kyle. I'm at the arena where Kyle's getting ready to wrestle for the gold medal. The match before him, athlete from Russia in the weight class below him wins a gold medal. And I'm looking down the row. They have the media set up in these, like they call it a mixed zone, and everybody has their own little space where they can talk to an athlete when they come off the mat. Down the row from me are the Russian media contingent. And it is one of those reminders that not every country in the world has a free press. So they're wearing the Russian team uniform. The two journalists are wearing the Russian official team uniform, and when he won the gold medal, they celebrated as if they had won gold medals. They were jumping up and down. They hugged each other. They were screaming with the crowd, and they're in the mixed zone with the media.
That is so
because
funny.
You're reminded of that. If you ever go to the museum in Washington, D.C., and you see the poster they have on the wall about the number of countries without a free press, there are reminders of that. Again, I'm from a small town in West Virginia. I didn't,
Right.
I think I have had some great experiences, but that was the experience that really opened my eyes to, what the world really is like, what it sounds like, what culturally it's like, what's important to those people. And, I've got 1,000 stories from there, but it's one of the cool experiences that you can have in a lifetime. And I would encourage you, if you ever have the opportunity to go to an Olympics, especially one in another country, I can't recommend it enough, because there's nothing that recreates that.
It's just really, really awesome. It was so cool to see you there. It's such an international event. Our own hometown sports director is there.
Yeah, I think it freaks people out.
Yeah. Oh, well, I thought it was
Because they're like,
cool.
is that real?
Yeah. So there are other things we want to talk about, too, and we'll do that coming up in a few minutes with Jerod Smalley, sports director at NBC4. Before we take a break, we're going to do something fun. And
actually, fun is not in our contract, sir.
Since we're going to break the contract. Since it's sports, we're going to call this Fast Break.
Fast Break.
Oh, I see.
And
we got a segment. It's
We've got
feature.
a segment, a feature, and it's
This is
new.
a real podcast.
We're starting it with you. So
Let's see how this goes.
we've got 60 seconds of music that will be under here.
All right.
You're going to try to answer as many questions as you can.
Okay.
You've all seen this done before.
Yes.
But this is Fast Break. Let's start it right now.
Okay.
Okay, or no. Here we
There we
go.
go.
The best sports movie ever.
Hoosiers.
First concert.
Dave Matthews Band.
Dream interview.
Jordan.
Favorite all-time Saturday Night Live character.
Church lady.
Early, on time, or late?
Early.
If you could choose your forever age, what would it be?
32.
What music artist do you have to...
I have no idea why.
What music artist do you like that you have to apologize for?
John Mayer.
Apologize? Really?
Yeah, I'll explain why.
Talent? Talent or skill that most people do not know you have?
I can play the trumpet.
What's your passion?
Autism.
Best concert you've ever seen?
Weird one. Brothers Osborne.
Okay. No, that's a cool one. Your walk-up song. If you're playing baseball, what would be your walk-up song?
Oh, man.
3 seconds.
3 seconds. I would say the theme from Animal House.
Okay.
The orchestral theme when they...
I love it.
We got through 11 questions.
That's not bad.
Very
Let me
good.
explain the John Mayer thing.
Yes, please, because we just did him, and he was awesome.
So I was bummed as could be that I was out of town when he played here in early August. Because I was on vacation with my wife, and we were like, it just schedule-wise didn't work because I'm a huge John Mayer buff, love everything about him, except that he sometimes says weird stuff.
He does. He does.
And he's like one of those, like he's really funny and really creative, and also his roster of girlfriends.
Yeah. Oh,
what?
my gosh.
We're sitting at a table right now that's pretty long.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that list fits on this table.
No, you're right. And it's quite a weird list too. Everyone
eclectic.
From Jessica Simpson to
Katy Perry.
Oh,
Katy Perry.
Minka Kelly.
Yeah.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
There was a Jennifer Aniston date in there.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I always forget about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there's a Taylor Swift song about him, apparently.
Yeah.
Ooh.
When he was here, he had with the supermodel Gigi Hadid right backstage with him, and they were doing a live broadcast from backstage in between the sets.
Yeah.
They said they weren't dating. They said it was not a thing. They said if they were dating, they wouldn't be on Insta Story doing a live broadcast from backstage.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. Well, that was hilarious. Thanks for doing that. Jerod Smalley is the NBC4.
You were so serious. You would not want to give a wrong answer.
I know.
On that.
Oh, by the
I
way,
was something like
I happen to know that you are a huge Saturday Night Live fan, so that's why I threw that question in.
I'm an enormous
Church
fan.
Lady is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I just heard a podcast with Dana Carvey, and I think he might be, even today, he's just so quick and so brilliant. And I think back to his era of that show, and
funny.
every Saturday night he delivered something that was just,
and he's still funny,
and he's still so good.
He kind of went away for a while, but now he's back on the talk shows. He's so hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, but you could go all day with that one. I mean, I just
Have you been to a taping?
I've never been to a taping, and it's kind of like a bucket list thing for me.
I went once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What time of year was it?
It was a Mother's Day episode.
Okay.
Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Was the host.
That's a pretty ridiculous good episode.
No kidding.
The only opportunity I ever had, one time I went to New York City to cover the Heisman when Troy Smith won in 2006. And the night before, Chuck Scarborough, the main anchor at WNBC, his daughter at the time was working for us here in Columbus. And I went to WNBC to kind of do some work for that evening. And Chuck had left a note, hey, I want to see those guys when they come in. And Chuck is, like bigger than life character. He walks out and he goes, hey, you want to see the place? And I'm like, I want to see the place. I don't even know what he meant. We walked down to the set for Saturday Night Live, walked through the halls, all these things I had seen on television growing up. And again, this is the show that I grew up on. Yeah. And I am freaking out.
It's a magical place.
It is magical. And everything you see, like we said earlier about the small studios,
it's
so much smaller than you think it is.
Yes.
That studio is tiny, tiny, tiny. One of the coolest things I've ever had a chance to do. And I remember it was Annette Bening was the host that week, and they were doing a rehearsal. So they were all on stage together. And I'm like, hey, that's Annette Bening. I'm like, of course it should be Annette Bening. But I'm like,
still,
like country bumpkin, that's Annette Bening. Wow. She's a real human.
She's
awesome.
a real human. All right. The Arena Guys Backstage Pass podcast with Dave Redelberger and the Arena Guy. We're going to talk about some of the recent shows at the Schott and nationwide coming right up.
The Black Keys are back. October 2nd, Nationwide Arena. The Black Keys Let's Rock Tour. With special guest, Modest Mouse. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. The Black Keys return.
Grammy Award winning The Chainsmokers present the World War Joy Tour featuring 5 Seconds of Summer and Lennon Stella live in concert. Schottenstein Center, October 13th. The Chainsmokers, 5 Seconds of Summer and Lennon Stella. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Check more at thechainsmokers.com and 5sauce.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Olympic gold medalist Nastia Liukin. Be sure to listen to the Arena Guys Backstage Pass podcast with Gary, the Arena Guy, and Dave Redelberger.
Coming up, we'll have details on how you can win a family 4-pack to experience the kickoff of the Jurassic World Live Tour, September 26th through 29th, right here in Columbus at the Schottenstein Center.
And that's going to be really cool as it truly kicks off here
Yeah, we'll tell you a little bit more about that and some other stuff. But it was great, with our special guest here, Jerod Smalley, NBC4, talking about kind of the behind the scenes of his career. We like to take you behind the scenes of a lot of shows here in Columbus. That's what the podcast is all about. And I think right now we're going to talk about some of the shows that we had. Boy, while we have taken a little break from podcasting, we've had a huge run of events here.
We had the busiest season ever.
Yeah.
At both the Schott and Nationwide.
And it's been a while, and Ohio Stadium too with BCS. It's been just an awesome run.
And we do things in the fiscal year. We've had 3 stadium shows in the past fiscal year.
Really?
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Taylor Swift, Beyonce and Jay-Z, and then the Buckeye Country Superfest with George Strait, who's retired. He retired from touring anyway, so to get him here in Columbus and get him outside of Texas was really cool.
That was crazy.
It was really cool.
That was a special night, and even Blake Shelton, was really excited to be on a bill with George. He talked about some of his early days being with George, and that he's still opening up for George.
Yeah.
But he says that with the honor, which is really cool. And you and I got to go back and talk with George a little bit before the show, and boy, just a first class guy.
No kidding. And one thing that I work on in these shows is to tabulate the economic impact of what we do, the economic impact to the city of Columbus, not for us, but to the city.
Sure.
Buckeye Country Superfest, over $14 million in economic impact to the city. You're talking hotels, food, gas, packs of gum, everything. About $14 million is the value of what that show brings to Columbus.
So you're saying that we should keep doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are getting ready. We're working on the lineup for 2020.
You want to break the news?
No, not here.
Because Carrie Underwood's playing next year. Is that what you said, sir? No.
I did not say that.
No, he did not say that. I think that's one of the coolest things that comes to town every year now, to have that event. It's even cool because on the countryside, I'm a country guy, like to see Midland here this year. Midland is one of those bands that people know their song on the radio, but when they come to your town and you're like, oh, they're like a full-service band. They're unbelievable.
They're really great.
I mentioned Brothers Osborne. They weren't on BCS this year, but Brothers Osborne, they came to town a couple months ago. We went, and it was one of those shows that they're maybe not the biggest name band in the world, but you know their music. And when you see them live, you get a new appreciation for how fun it is. If you don't go to live shows, you miss that element.
You really do.
Yeah.
You got to go to live shows because it's just a whole other visual element. People don't want to leave their house anymore. TV's too good. Go. It's so much better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned Midland, too. It was really cool that Ryan Day went on stage with Midland to announce next year's date, which will be June 20th.
Coach was excited to get on stage. Coach was excited to get on stage.
His first full season coming up.
Well, he normally doesn't, do his job in front of people.
Yeah, right.
He was like, oh, there's a crowd here. That's interesting.
But it was I know you're being funny, but it was a different kind of thing on stage rather than being on the sidelines.
Of course.
It's a
out of its element.
It's a different, exactly. Similar thing. 21 Pilots.
Wow, that was
local boys.
That was a special night. They were here for a couple of shows, and it's not just a special night for Columbus. It's a special night for the band, too.
Totally.
They were so excited. One of the coolest things is we're backstage, and we're talking to them and giving them a street sign, right? We renamed Nationwide Boulevard to 21 Pilots Boulevard. And when I say we, the arena guy got it done, right? I just stood next to the sign.
But you're on the team, though.
But
the tag team.
One of the guys, was it Tyler?
I believe it was Tyler,
said he was so excited about this that for like the next few days he was going to just force meetings downtown and just casually drop it's on the corner of High and 21 Pilots Boulevard.
It's on the corner of, I think, Broad and My Street.
Right. Well, the street they named after me.
And then, Dave coordinated a couple of huge greeting cards that fans outside the arena could sign with messages.
Yeah, we wanted kind of a welcome home from the local fans and did that. And they really appreciated it. Boy, people from all over. There we had people signing from not just Columbus, but remember, there was a gal there from Japan. Yeah.
Really cool.
Kids were sleeping out at McPherson Commons. Well, they didn't sleep overnight. Just in case the city's listening. They left at 11 p.m. and they didn't come back till 8 a.m.
That's the official word,
it's a lovely place to camp, though. I mean, it's beautiful grass, great view. But I will say this, Tyler Joseph, though, we covered him as a high school basketball player around here.
Yeah.
And he was, for people who don't obviously know him from a different life, he was really good.
Well,
really
what's really
good.
funny about that is when they appeared here the last time, we presented them with a piece. Presented him with the piece of the old basketball floor that he actually played on during the state tournament.
Oh yeah.
We had it kind of made up like a mini version of the shot course.
So that would have been Worthington Christian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
His brother, we actually met last year because he just finished at Worthington Christian, and he was on his way to play college basketball. I think it was one of Mount Vernon Nazarene, and it was so funny because his brother has like 30,000 Instagram followers. His brother,
right? Just because
he's his brother.
Yeah.
You know, and so he had this great sense of humor about it. Like, you know, I'm famous by association kind of thing.
Oh, a couple of funny things about 21 Pilots, or cool things, I guess you'd say. And telling producer TJ, we're probably going to miss that clip. We'll go on to the next one. Was that on Dave's card that they signed, there was one guy that was gushing about how much he loved 21 Pilots. I traveled here to see 21 Pilots. I love 21 Pilots. P.S. Who's your favorite Beatle? It was so funny. And then his response was a Volkswagen.
That's a little sassy. I respect that.
That was funny. And then the next night we had, who did we have? Ariana Grande.
Yes.
At the Schott. And it's funny how these guys, out of context, don't get noticed. If he had stepped into the concourse on the night of the 21 Pilots concert, he would have been mobbed. Mm-hmm. But who's dating the Disney star? Tyler or...
Is it married or dating?
They're
dating. Debbie Ryan, an old
married?
Disney Channel star.
I didn't mean to say married if I did. It's dating.
And they're at the concert together.
They're at the Ariana Grande concert.
The next night.
And one of the guys, I forgot who's dating the Disney star.
Remember.
Yeah. But anyway, fans for Ariana Grande, a totally different demographic, recognized her. And he was walking the crowd, and nobody noticed him, and they were asking him to take photos.
That's so good.
Can you take a picture of me and her?
Isn't that the best thing in the world?
I mean, isn't that funny?
Well, you know what's funny? Ryan Day, a couple weeks ago, we were talking to him, and he was talking about his new life. You know, people recognizing him now. And he said one of the funniest things that happened this summer was he was at a festival downtown. He and his wife and his kids were there.
The Arts Festival.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And he had his wife with him, and people came up to take pictures, but they wanted his wife to take the picture.
Yeah.
And he said that got old real fast.
That's so funny. I talked to him about the same thing. Yeah. I don't talk to him like you do, but I ran into him. We were speaking about that, and he said his life has changed, and the biggest change was that now everywhere he goes, he needs to take pictures.
But Arena Guy, you got to say that he told you that story after you asked for the picture.
That is true.
That is a fair point.
True. That is true.
That's pretty meta, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
But he said if you ever want to make my wife angry, ask her to take the picture.
Yeah.
So anyway, life has changed.
Not
we'll talk more about Osu football coming up. Let's talk about John Mayer.
You know, John Mayer, you talk about being a fan and being one of those people you have to apologize for. And it's still, it's one of those shows that this is probably, not counting his Dead and Company visits, this is at least the third time that John's been here in the recent years.
And
solo.
he loves playing the Schott, by the way.
And every time when I go out and I watch the show, I am blown away by what I think he's gotten better. I really think the Dead and Company thing is
too.
Like he is just like the crowd is still 60-40 female, right? Because he has a big female following. But I'm telling you, it is just one of the best nights of music that you'll see.
Yeah, he's probably the best live musician, of the major touring acts in terms of a musicianship.
Yeah.
Somebody who plays an instrument. He is as good as anybody at a highly popular radio level could be. He's an extraordinary performer. Yeah. And one of my favorite things about the reason I kind of enjoyed his stuff early on, it was one of the first shows I ever saw. Was I always thought he was funny. He has kind of this quirky, clever sense of humor. And people don't know this, but he had a TV show once.
He did.
John Mayer had a TV show. The name of the show was John Mayer Has a TV Show.
That's right.
It was a one-episode show on VH1 that was extremely well done and never did it again.
Well, I hate to mention another network, but before James Corden had his late-night show, and they had guest host.
You're right.
He did it many times, and he was incredible. Mm-hmm. Also want to mention about his musicianship. Most of the times when you see an artist, you want to hear all the hits.
Yeah.
John Mayer last time did very few hits.
Yeah.
But you didn't care because his musicianship was so great.
Yeah, he could just play, and he's kind of gotten into a kind of a groove thing since he's done the Dead and Company thing, where he can take a song and just expand on it and just kind of explore the groove.
So good.
And he
didn't do any of his hits. He only did a couple.
Yeah.
And he won't do no such thing anymore, and I don't know why. But
that's a
just
shame.
Doesn't do that.
It's too poppy, probably.
I think so. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, his catalog is so big now that it's kind of hard to pick and choose. If you're a band in your second or third tour, your catalog's pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
You pick the 10 or 15 songs that people like, and that's your show, and it's great. But in his case, he's got 50 that people know and like. And that's the problem is you have to walk that line between, hey, everybody, here's one from the new album. Get up and go to the bathroom.
Right.
Or, do I just play hits and, bore myself?
Right.
And I guess it's a balance they have to strike.
I think so. But he only did a couple. He was just so good. And
the show was so solid.
One of the cool things that happened that night is, fans bring signs and they try to get attention. And this couple had a sign asking, "Will you read my gender reveal?" Our gender reveal. He saw the sign. He was about ready to tell a story. He saw that and said, "Oh, my story doesn't mean anything." And he brought him up on stage, and this is what happened.
I want to say hello to Mr. Ben and Margot. They have the I'm not going to get too hyper woke about this. I believe this is from Seven Hills Women's Health Centers. This is the future of your love and your life is in, and you have bestowed upon me this great responsibility. So I'd like to sing it to you. I think you should. You know what? I'm going to take a look at it. Now I'm going to have to figure out Are you ready? Boys, you can play. Find out how much they can take. Boys will be strong. Boys so strong. Boys will be gone without It's a
Wool over the eyes.
He did. So
That guy's so clever, man.
that was so
Funny.
cool. And now, how much you want to bet at all of his feature concerts? Because that kind of went viral.
Yeah.
He's gonna get these requests in the future.
Yeah, it was a very cool moment. He talked about how, like, in his head, like well, first of all, we're back with the tour, and before the show, and they said John never brings anybody on stage. Don't worry about it, because we have a little security briefing ahead of time. You kind of find out what's going to happen if there's artists' movements, and they're going to be at the B stage at this point. They say John never brings anybody on stage. So all of a sudden, I hear people screaming, and then I walk out, and there's people on stage. I'm like, what is going on, right? And John says, in his moment, while he's getting ready to open the envelope, he said, I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be a girl so I can do daughters. It'll just be perfect. It'll be perfect. And then he opened the envelope and it was a boy, and he's like, time to scramble. But John's quick on his feet.
He's a pretty good tap dancer.
No kidding. Producer's note: the clip for Buble we're going to save for next time on this one. But Michael Buble was a class act. That was a great show, Dave.
Yeah.
I missed that one. I was out of town.
Oh, that's right. You're out of town.
Yeah. I heard good things, though.
Okay, so here's what he did. And actually, we're going to play a clip when we get to the sports segment of this. But we're backstage, and we're chatting, and he said, so if I mentioned the 3 Blue Jackets who skipped town, will the crowd know? I said, yeah. And he said, if I say OH, are they going to know how to respond? I said, absolutely. That's a gold mine. So
it's good. No, it's good that he knew his hockey, which was impressive.
And in fact, he asks for a hockey puck from every city he appears in that has an NHL team. And even though he played the Schott, we gave him a Blue Jackets hockey puck. And
he has
really good.
Interesting things to say about the free agent moves. For the Jacks.
Yes, he did.
Actually, we'll play his comments coming up in the
you know
sports segment.
Professional tease
That's
there.
Well done. It's like he's done this before.
But
straight out of broadcast school.
So Michael Bublé was really great. And next time, I was able to track down a random fan that he pulled out of the audience to sing a duet with him.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've seen him do that a number of times.
Yeah, he does it every show. And I found Carissa from Dublin, and we spoke to her. We'll play that next time because we're just having too much fun here, and we're probably going to go into your 6 o'clock newscast.
I blew it, guys.
But we're going to play that next time because it's so good. But she was, to talk to a fan that got to sing with her idol is pretty huge.
That's pretty cool. And speaking of getting to sing with your idols, it's kind of what Adam Lambert got to do with Queen, right? I mean,
well, yeah. So Queen was really phenomenal. You had Roger Taylor on drums, who actually was sick for that performance. He was phenomenal. Nobody would have known. The show was never in jeopardy, but he saw a doctor moments before he went on stage.
No kidding.
And he played like he was in his prime. I mean, it was incredible. Brian May was incredible. And you mentioned them playing OSU 42 years ago. He made a joke about that. Said, we loved playing Columbus last time. We're so thrilled to be back 41 years later.
41 years later.
Which is crazy.
A lot of acts take a 40-year gap between gigs, let's be honest.
And it was a special night. And Adam Lambert, really, he knew his role with the band. He's still big. Mm-hmm. He's still flamboyant. He still felt like a major rock and roll showman, right? But he was also reverent to the band and didn't try to outshine them or didn't recreate Freddie's thing. He let Freddie be, do.
He absolutely did.
Yeah, it was a beautiful
He did
night.
not make it about him, and a lot of frontmen do that. Mm-hmm. So he knew that he knew his role. He knew he respected the legacy of the band, and he was phenomenal. He's a very flamboyant performer, so he's a good lead singer. But I imagine an Adam Lambert solo concert is totally different than this because he was respectful to the band.
But one of the cool things I heard about that show, I heard about a couple of the shows they did in Los Angeles and the set list for those and how they went about building the show, and it was very similar to what was done in Columbus, is the number of ways in which they incorporate Freddie into the current performance. So that was really interesting how they did it using the technology and kind of marrying those things up. So, his impression on who that band is and the iconic nature of that band hasn't been lost, even though you have a new frontman and a new show. And I thought that was a really clever way to do it. We actually have a photographer at the station who went to the show, he and his daughter, and they come back after the show, stopped by the station. I don't know why he stopped back by. I don't know. His shift was over. It's not like he had to come back out and start work. But he stopped back in. And, he's normally super chill, low-key, fantastic guy. And he walks in, and he is, like, on cloud nine. So I know how the show went.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, go ahead, tell me how it was. And 20 minutes later, he was done telling me about the set list and just how impressed he was with Adam Lambert doing it.
I thought the use of Freddie Mercury was just right. He came on and sang the last couple songs of a song called Love of My Life. They played the original video clip of the Mamma Mia part during Bohemian Rhapsody, where all four of the guys, even though only two of the originals are still playing. And that was good, and he made another appearance. But it's just right. If they did it like one more time, it may have been exploited. But it was perfect the way they did it.
And the last time was almost like a hologram of him, but it was just through the video screens. But where he did the AO, and it was just, and the whole crowd was singing along. Yeah. It was a special moment.
So I want to play one clip here. For a lot of our major shows, the Arena Guy goes out and talks to fans. And here's a little montage of some of the people that the Arena Guy talked to. And what's really interesting is Queen has been around since for like 45 years or more, yet the crowd was so diverse. They were so young. They were the fans you would expect and everything in between. And let's just hear about a minute of some of those fans. Found three huge Queen fans, and what's really unique about this trio is
we are 3-generation Queen fans.
Holy cow, this is fantastic. Here we go. On the count of three, our own special, unique, pre-concert version of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Let's go from the beginning.
Let's go from the beginning. 3, 2, 1.
Mama, said you're a man, put a gun against his head, holds my trigger, now he's dead.
What is it about Queen that makes them so great?
I think a lot of it definitely is their unique sound. Like some bands, you don't know it's them until you hear their singer or something like that. But with Queen, as soon as it comes on, you know exactly who it is because Freddie's voice is like none other the world has ever seen.
All right, let's see. Roger Taylor and Brian May were in what band when they first met Freddie Mercury?
Oh, that's easy. Smile with Tim also. Tim played the bass, and that was a big problem because Freddie didn't. Right. So they had to find Deacon, and Deacon was one of 3 or 4 guys they tried out. So, I mean, good choice, though. Good choice.
Good choice, of course. He not only knew the answer, but he knew the backstory. So, Queen, you were very excited to come to this concert. Why?
Because, I mean, this is one of my favorites.
Say duh to the Arena Guy. This is a first. It says duh to the Arena Guy.
It's right there. It's a legend. Come on! This is one of my
my all-time favorite bands. And my sister, this is my sister's pin. She's rocking with Freddie up there, but I can't wait.
So just a few of fans, and it's quite diverse. A 12-year-old was singing. The kid that answered the trivia question was 18 years old. The granddaughter in the 3 generations was a fan because of the grandma and her mother, but the younger ones because of the movie. So it's amazing that Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, has actually brought in a whole new generation.
It really has, and I brought my 16-year-old to the show, and he said, "Dad, there wasn't a bad song in the set. It was just cool." I keep raving about it, but it was a special night.
Let's take a break in just a moment, but first, just say something about ELO.
Another show that had not been in Columbus for 40-plus years, and maybe rivals Queen for the show of the year. It was a magic night.
It was a magic night, and Danny Harrison, George Harrison's son, was the opener. And he sang George Harrison's part in the Traveling Wilburys song, Handle with Care, sounded just like his father. Wow. He looks like a younger version of his father, and you got chills. It was truly amazing.
When he walked by us backstage, and we were waiting to talk to Jeff, Jeff.
Jeff, on a first-name basis. I love that.
But we're back, and he walks by, and he was made some comment to us, and he's got his dad's eyes, and he's got that Liverpool accent still.
100%.
And you're still like, I'm this close to a Beatle. There's always part of you that freaks out.
Our special guest today is Jerod Smalley. Just changed his name.
It's a fancier version.
NBC4's sports director. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming sports seasons getting underway, including Osu Football, Osu basketball, men's and women's, men's hockey, and the Blue Jackets. Talk about that incredible season and what we can look forward to with this upcoming season. Coming up right after this.
I'm a sucker for you. Life just got a whole lot better. I'm a sucker for Jonas Brothers Happiness Begins Tour. Schottenstein Center, September 5th. With special guests, Phoebe Rexa and Jordan McGraw. Lately I've been feeling so. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. The brand new album Happiness Begins is available everywhere June 7th. For more, check JonasBrothers.com. Presented by American Airlines and MasterCard.
Miranda Lambert, the Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars Tour. Saturday, September 28th at Nationwide Arena. The record-breaking award winner, Miranda Lambert. One of country music's most beloved. Very special guest, Elle King. Also featuring Pistol Annies. Tickets on sale now at the box office, LiveNation.com or Ticketmaster.com. Miranda Lambert.
Hello, this is Hoop Scream from the Harlem Globetrotters. You're listening to the Arena Guys Backstage Pass podcast with Gary the Arena Guy and Dave Redelberger.
For the latest concert info, check out SchottensteinCenter.com and NationwideArena.com.
And so, here we're to the part.
The part.
The segment that Jerod Smalley has been on my wish list for this show where we kick off the sports seasons. And
the first 7 episodes were just a warm-up to this moment.
They were.
I was going to say, this is really climactic.
No, but seriously.
Slow burn.
I wanted to save your appearance for this segment where we can talk about some upcoming the sports teams to play at the 2 arenas.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about Osu Football as well. And before we do, we've got a clip from our old buddy, Michael Buble.
Look, I know it's not, you like your hockey, but I know it's a football town. And I know that you have a beautiful program. And I know that if I say the words, OH, well, suck that, Michigan.
So that was Michael Buble here at the Schott just recently.
Here's what makes that so good. Because Michael Buble is in a full suit for every show, and you expect a very classy, dignified experience.
Totally.
And then he starts.
Yeah, right.
It makes it so much better.
It really does.
Very funny. So Osu Football is just a stone's throw away. It's coming up here. Can you believe football season is about to begin?
I'm tired of practice football.
Yeah.
Let's play real football.
Here from our studios, I can actually look out the window and I can see the shoe. You know, we're up here on the second level of the Schott today.
You actually have a beautiful view.
It is a great view, and I tell you what, man, I look at that. When I leave work every day, and I'm itching for some football.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season. I think it's a season that people have a lot of questions, and they should.
It's Ryan Day's first season.
And
full season.
I mean, it what's interesting about it is that they have 13 returning starters, and that's a good bit. But when you look closer at the roster, it's actually a lot more than that. It depends on how you calculate it, right? For example, Wyatt Davis is the right guard this year. Wyatt Davis started the last 2 games of last year. He's not considered a returning starter, but he started the Big Ten championship game, played very well, played well in the Rose Bowl, but not a starter. Right. So that's
an experience.
It's experienced player, not a starter. The starting right guard was hurt 2 years ago while a starter. It's Brandon Bowen, who will likely start at right tackle this year, was out all last year, not a returning starter, but is a, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So when you do the numbers, there's 9 starters back on defense. But here's the problem with that. 9, that's amazing. But of the 9, there's 9 more who played a ton and aren't considered returning starters.
Wow.
So
that's a big number.
When you get into the numbers, you're like, holy cow, all these guys played. The only one that didn't is the quarterback.
That's what I was going to ask. What's your feeling on this kid?
It's very interesting. Justin Fields is very talented. He's among the highest-rated recruits to ever play at Ohio State. And out of high school, his film, if you've ever gone back and watched the YouTube stuff of him playing high school football, it is a joke how good he is.
Oh.
I mean, he is just making people look silly. Now, his freshman year at Georgia last year was not brilliant. It was not. Now, he also was not the primary guy. He was a complete fill-in spot guy, usually getting in there to run the football scenario. With Jake Fromm was a great quarterback at Georgia, and it was not a perfect fit. Offensive style. Obviously, he's from the state of Georgia, and he wanted to play at home, and it maybe under different circumstances would have been a perfect marriage, but it didn't really work. And then obviously the situation that prompted him to transfer, he ends up here in a situation that probably is really good for him in terms of run-pass balance. He is a dual-threat quarterback who has extraordinary speed. He's a 4.4 40 guy, and he can throw it. That's been the criticism, right? Can he consistently throw it? He can throw it. The curiosity is how he goes out and reads defenses, how he goes out and finds open men. We have not seen that in a game. We saw it a little bit in the spring game, and obviously in the times that we've been able to watch this fall, we've seen him throw it up, and he looks really, really good. But when the bullets are live, as they like to say over there, how will he perform? We don't know yet. But I'll also remind you, last year, we didn't really know how Dwayne Haskins would handle that number 1 role. Right. That seemed to work out okay. But they're 2 totally different players, athletes, skill sets. I think he'll have great success. I just think it will look different.
Yeah. So you did a story the other night. A lot of the attention is placed on who's starting quarterback, and the other key positions. But you did a story the other night on how important the backup players are.
Yeah.
And Ohio State in years past have been very strong, in that area. Well, but how are they this year?
That's the difference with Ohio State. The difference with Ohio State and Ohio University and Miami University and even in the Big Ten, talking about Indiana and that level of school and their program, the difference isn't the first teamer. Yeah, the first teamer is a 4 or 5-star guy.
Right.
They usually have really good first-line guys at those schools. It's the second team where you start to fall off a little bit. At Ohio State, it doesn't really fall off very much.
Right.
And that's the curiosity is if you're searching for depth at a position, that's a little bit of a concern at a place like Ohio State because that's the difference. That's how you beat a team 55-7 or 14
right.
is that you're so strong in the second half and you've rolling in a number of players and you're fresh. And the one position we were talking about in that story was at running back. They didn't have a backup running back.
Right.
And at a place with a Cadillac position like the running back at Ohio State, where these legendary players have owned it, they're looking for a number 2 guy.
Yeah.
And they think they've got the pecking order figured out now. It's probably going to be DeMario McCall next in behind J.K. Dobbins. But that's the stuff that matters.
But it's so strong. It's why a third-string quarterback has a shot at the NFL.
At Ohio State.
Yeah, at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's a huge concern this year for Ohio State because if there is a problem for Fields, the number 2 quarterback and number 3 quarterback spots are of significant concern. Not to say they're not good players, but no experience in terms of the level of football they're trying to play. And obviously the offensive mentality might change because of their skill sets versus the skill set of Justin. So it's quite a departure from 1 to 2. It's why we're all laughing the whole time about when they wouldn't name a starter. We're like, yeah, come on, man. What are we even doing here? I mean, name the starter. But in terms of the second guy, we don't know who that second guy is at quarterback yet. Chris Chugnoff or, potential. I mean, you're not quite. I would presume it'd be him, but Maybe the kid from Kaufman, Gunnar Hoke, who transferred back from Kentucky. Perhaps he's a shot at it. But, yeah, that's a big question mark on him.
It is. Before we move on to the Blue Jackets, Ryan Day's first complete season this year.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Ryan Day as a leader?
I think Ryan is going to just kill it.
I think he is, too.
I think he's going to. You saw evidence of that last year. They did not miss a beat. They went on a road, won a very tough road game at TCU. Now, TCU obviously didn't have a great season, but at the time they played TCU last year, they're a pretty good football team. And they went in with the mentality that they were going to be fine. They handled adversity early in the game, and they pulled away. And they were prepared to do it. They did not blink. And that is his message to the team this year has been tough love. And what he means by that is he wants to love players. He wants them to feel that they're all together and that they're supported and that they have their best interests at heart. But they also have to be the toughest team on the field, because if they're not, they will not succeed. It is a toughness game, and you have to balance those two things. That's difficult in college football. But, that's where I think he has a chance to succeed. I love his approach to mental health, keeping the players' best interest at heart. I think and obviously from a schematic standpoint, he's a brilliant football mind. You add all that together, pretty good recipe for a head coach.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to this upcoming season.
Sure.
So, all right, let's move to the Blue Jackets. Talk about a magical season last season. Before we get into it, let's hear again from Mr. Buble.
And all of these things, all of these incredibly positive, incredible things about this city just make me think to myself, like, I just know now that Bobrovsky and Panarin and Duchesne are idiots for leaving. Yeah. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? Anyway, listen, I was cheering so hard for your hockey team. I was so happy when they took out Tampa in 4. Let me tell you. I like the GM too.
So that comment went viral, and some of the players actually responded to Michael Buble on that.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on losing those 3 players to free agency?
It's obviously not great. I mean, you don't get better not having players of that quality back on your team. However, the Bobrovsky thing was eventually going to happen. I think we all knew that last year. It was his last year.
Bob had a great run.
Bob had a tremendous run here.
You kind of knew he was going to leave when his apartment went up for sale.
Yeah, I mean, in free agency, absolutely. It was like, okay, well, I guess he's not moving to Muirfield. You know what I mean? Like, he's out the door. No, I mean, but I think the painful loss there is Panarin, because he's such a young, brilliant, phenomenal talent. He's also a good kid. I mean, it's somebody that they really liked in the organization. But there were circumstances obviously that led them all to leave. Columbus, we love it, but it's not for everyone, depending on where they are from and what their life's ambitions and goals are.
Sure.
So you have to, balance those two things. The Matt Duchesne was interesting. I think Matt Duchesne was awesome, and he was great to work with when he was here. He was a phenomenal guy, a stand-up guy, win or lose, and I really like Matt Duchesne. Matt Duchesne is super into country music. I mean, super into it. His best friend, I think, is he plays in Thomas Rhett's band.
Oh, really?
And so he's super, super into country music. And so if the Nashville opportunity opens up and they're going to pay him commensurate money with Columbus, I'm like, okay,
right?
Yeah, go be around it all the time. Go sing whiskey glasses in the bar, and it's fine. It's all great.
Yeah.
So I understand why they did it. Having said that, if you think the Blue Jackets are going to be trash because those guys left, I wouldn't be so quick on that. They have a great core. Cam Atkins is still playing there. Nick Foligno is still playing there. They have I think, a good opportunity in goal with Korpisalo and Elvis, who's the man from Latvia they signed, who is probably the best goalie in the world, not in the NHL. They have opportunities there to take a next step, but the bar was set really high this past year.
And boy, it was.
And
what a great year.
It could have, a couple funky bounces in Boston, and they're playing in the Eastern Conference Final. What I mean? Like, they were that close. And, it was a great, great season, great teamwork. You have to give the management team with Jarmo and John Tortorella a lot of credit, but they got to start over. And, I'll be curious to see what they have in the system to come through and lift them. But if you think it's going to be a down year at Nationwide, I'm not so sure of that.
I don't think so either. Excitement is at a an all-time
high.
high.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And didn't Columbus just go crazy last season?
It was awesome.
The excitement was just magical. It was
Well,
the only word I could think of.
And the other thing is, we're talking about, the things that are new and fun. And, obviously Ohio State football's been here a million years, and they won 13 games last year. We are accustomed to it. When people go to the games, it's almost like, and when they watch from home, it's almost like they watch in fear. It's almost like they have a, we better not lose mentality.
Right. No,
the Blue Jackets mentality is the polar opposite. It's what if we win?
Yeah.
What if we win? It's the glass half full theory. And I'm telling you, that is what makes following that organization so fun right now, because you see what potentially could happen in the streets of the city, and the energy, day to day when you get into April and May in the heat of the Stanley Cup playoffs, what it could look like, what it could sound like, what it could feel like, the build-up, have tickets on the resale market going for $300, $400 because people are crazy.
We don't know about that.
I mean, no, I'm just telling you the truth. I mean, that's what it is. But it's that kind of energy that we are so eager to have here, and we're on the cusp of that.
Totally. First preseason game is September 17th versus the Sabres, so that's exciting.
Sneak it up.
Also exciting is OSU men's basketball.
Yeah.
Coach Holtman begins his third season as head coach. He was the 2018 Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
I think he did fine. He's the third OSU coach to win 20 games or more in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's not bad. It was a really good hire
when
they got him here. And the other thing is you're going to see this year a difference in the recruiting level, because they had a top 5 recruiting class in the country coming in. DJ Carton, guard out of Iowa, who they signed, is just a magnificent talent, and will be a difference maker as a freshman. And I don't know that it's Odin and Conley in terms of great recruiting classes in Ohio State history, but it's going to be up there. I think that's a really good group. And then the return of Caleb wasn't coming back, tinkering with the idea of going to the NBA. He listened. I talked to Caleb a few weeks ago, and to his credit, he took the criticism that he got from, look, the NBA doesn't care about your feelings.
Right.
They don't. They're going to tell you the truth and where they think you can improve and where you can hone your game. And to his credit, all he did was go to work. He lost weight this winter, or this summer. He worked on some skill sets, especially on the defensive end of the floor, that can really benefit him moving forward. He's always got great offensive skills. You add an improved Caleb with a team that has a very nice core and an excellent influx of young talent. That's a really, this might be a Big Ten title contending type of team, and I'm not sure we were thinking that was going to be the case in year 3. I think they have an excellent chance. When you look around the league, they might have one of the best, if not the best, roster.
Just really excited about this upcoming season. The season kickoff is October 30th versus Cedarville.
They'll be all right in that game.
Yeah, I think so.
Fingers crossed.
I think so. Really enjoying talking to Jerod Smalley, NBC4's sports director. He's previewing some of the sports seasons coming up. Women's basketball, Coach McGuff and his team had an excellent season last year as well.
Yeah, and they came on late. They struggled early in the year, and they kind of they had some young. They were a very similar situation with young talent. They had a lot of young players out there, and early on didn't mesh very well. By the end, they were playing very well, and the team you didn't want to play in the Big Ten tournament, that kind of team. So their future is bright. Obviously, Kevin is a highly respected coach, and you get the sense they had a really good recruiting class again this year. Brought in some top 30 caliber players, and so I think they're headed the right direction. But the whole thing when Jim Foster was here is they're winning the Big Ten every year and didn't do very well in the tournament. And I think that's the long-term goal for that program, isn't just to get back to the Big Ten level. It's to make that run into the women's Final Four, potentially be that kind of team. And their ambitions are very high there.
You mentioned recruits. I mean, the recruiting that they did this past season is very highly regarded. I mean, there's a lot of excitement for the recruits.
For the women, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you don't just get the best. When Jim was here, the whole objective was they couldn't get the best player in Ohio, but they were still recruiting well.
Yeah.
But they weren't getting the best player in Ohio, and now they're getting the best players in Ohio, and they're filling in elsewhere, going across the country. So they're a national recruiting base, but. The results are there, and it's a program that I think is worth watching.
The women's basketball season kicks off November 3rd with an exhibition game versus Urbana.
They'll be okay in that game.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
You know, it's funny. The beginning of the season is always they're going to be okay in that game.
They're going to be fine.
Men's ice hockey, what a great season last year too. I mean, all three teams that played here at the Schott had really great years. Men's ice hockey coach Steve Rolick started his 7th season as head coach.
Yeah.
And 2018 and 2019 Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Yeah, they went to the Frozen Four a year before last, and last year were number 1 in the country for a little while. And a program that you talk about the recruiting, the pipeline they developed. College hockey recruiting is so hard because you think about what you're up against with the minor system and the junior system in Canada.
True. Yeah.
And where players are going to go, especially if they're an elite level player. Are they going to chase the NHL and go the juniors route and the Canadian minors, if you will, or if they're going to come to America, go to college, and then work their way up the system, through the draft and all. The NHL system is very. It is unique. It is all its own in terms of developing. So to Ohio State's credit, he's done a great job of identifying those players who want to go to college and also getting high talented players from the United States and beyond. And he's just done a phenomenal job there building that program. And, it's certainly trending the right direction.
Yeah. So 3 straight 20-plus win seasons. So
who do they open against?
They open against the Western Mustangs, October 6th.
They'll be all right.
I think they'll be all right.
They'll be all right.
All right, so let's wrap this up with the Arena Football League. Arena Football returned to Columbus and Nationwide Arena with a big press conference. Here are a few clips from that.
Good morning. I'm Gary O'Brien, Director of Communications for Nationwide Arena. I'd like to welcome everyone for what is a very exciting day for Nationwide Arena, the Arena Football League, and the city of Columbus.
It is my honor and privilege to welcome back the Columbus Destroyers to the Arena Football League. We are so proud to have you on board. Congratulations. We are truly excited to welcome the AFL back to Columbus and to Nationwide Arena. And this arena is spectacular. The Nationwide Arena, we are so thrilled to play here. What a great building. It is going to do such a great service for us in the Arena League, having the Destroyers play here. And I can't wait to come here. John, is it May 18th? May 18th, the opener against the Albany Empire. And have 18,000 people packing this arena with rabid Arena League fans and all the great sponsor partners that we're going to have. Thank you so much for coming today, and go Destroyers.
So, Jerod, did you get a chance to talk to Ron Jaworski?
Sure did. Had a great time talking to Jaws, actually.
We did too.
Man.
Yeah. We just want
What a classic.
He let me try in a couple of his rings.
Oh yeah, that's the thing with him. He always has a Super Bowl ring on. So if remember in Ace Ventura, where they were missing the Super Bowl, missing the stone of the Super Bowl ring, and pressed in his head, and that's how he counted the missing stone. I was like, is Jaws gonna punch me in the face? No, he was super great. I got to tell you, I know the season on the field did not go great. Nope. I do recognize that, but that is a property that was wildly successful and entertaining when it was here. The league had trouble from a business standpoint, and that's why it went away.
But not the Destroyers.
Absolutely. The Destroyers did fine. Yeah. To see it back this year, no matter what the on-field record was, look, it's a wonderful thing to do in that part of the late spring, early summer.
It's a great window.
Oh, it's an awesome time to be in the arena. You can sit down close. You can be near the action. And the team, year to year, it's going to be in flux because it is players who are moving up or moving on or moving out. Mm-hmm. It is constantly in flux. And just because they weren't very good this year on the field, next year it's going to be a completely different team.
They'll have a little more lead time.
They will, exactly right. So I think your best bet is to go root for the team, but the product and what you get for your money is amazing. How close you can sit, how the experience, there's nothing like it.
It's totally different than an NFL game.
Oh, yeah, not even close.
I mean, just the excitement of it. And you are, like you said, it's close, and it's a shorter field, right?
Yes. Yeah. Indoors, it's a 50-yard field.
Obviously,
and you've got, but I mean, it's not just that. It's the board scenario and how a tackle is made and the kind of offenses they run. And, obviously the entire game's predicated on the quarterback. So if the quarterback plays well, you're probably going to win. If the quarterback doesn't play well, you're probably not.
Right.
And you can't turn the ball. If you turn the ball over, it's so penal because the field's so short and they're going to score. You know what I mean? Like you're giving up 7 points every time you turn the ball over. Right. So it's that punishing element to arena football that you can't make mistakes. But that is a product, and as that league continues to expand, go back the other direction now, it's only going to get better. That's going to be a great product for a while.
It is, and definitely an exciting brand of football, and we can't wait till next season on that. So coming up, we are going to take a look at some of the upcoming events coming to the Schott and Nationwide Arena, and more with Jerod Smalley, NBC4's sports director, coming up.
It's the live show fans everywhere have been waiting for. Jurassic World Live Tour, coming September 2019. Tickets on sale now.
Together again this holiday season, Balsam Hill presents Christmas with Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith. Featuring a full symphony orchestra, plus the incredible vocals of Mark Martel. December 1st, Nationwide Arena. Reserve seats on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Find out how you can go backstage. Visit MeetAmyandMichael.com. Visit Balsam Hill for all your Christmas decorating needs.
Hi, this is Brandon Vincent, the driver of Gravedigger, and you're listening to the Arena Guys Backstage Pass podcast with Gary the Arena Guy and Dave Redelberger.
Can you believe we just heard a Christmas show commercial?
Oh, man, it's about that time. Hey,
it's a little early.
Real quick, for behind-the-scenes fan interviews and up-to-date concert info, follow The Arena Guy on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram @_The Arena Guy.
All right. If you're really cool, you'll be doing that soon if you haven't done it already. We've got a lot of great events coming up at the Schott Nationwide. Let's run down a few of the upcoming shows that we can look forward to, including that Christmas show with Michael W. Smith and Amy Grant. Already thinking Christmas.
Yeah, that show December 1st, Nationwide Arena. They were here not too long ago with the Christmas show, and it's a lot of fun. You can tell they're enjoying themselves on stage with that.
It's really good. A good way to bring in the holiday season for sure.
A good way. Happiness, though, begins with the Jonas Brothers, September 5th. That's the name of the tour, Happiness Begins.
It is. See?
And, I'm a sucker for the Jonas Brothers.
Boy, I tell you what.
There we go. See?
Thanks very much. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Professional broadcasting.
Yeah. September 5th at the Schott. Tickets are tight for that one, but it's going to be one of those Queen situations. Like Queen day, not a ticket to be found for months. Day of the show, band comes in, they see where the stage fits, and they go, "Oh, you know what? We got another 100 tickets we can sell." So keep an eye on the venue's social media page that day if you are trying to get into
BB
that
Rexa on that show too, and she's really hot right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun night. Boy, you couldn't believe how well that was sold right out of the gate. Just it was.
People seem to be craving the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Trevor Noah, Daily Show's own, Friday, September 13th. Here, Blink 182 for their rescheduled date, September 22nd. Chris Brown, September 25th. Miranda Lambert bringing her Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars tour with Ohio's own Elle King, right?
That's right. And tell me, and do you know the Jerod? Who her father is?
Rob Schneider.
There we go. You knew. Okay.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
That makes no sense.
It is weird.
The copy guy is Elle King's dad.
Yeah.
Making hit makers.
Making copy.
Black Keys, October 2nd. Mercy Me, October 5th. Bon Iver, October 8th. Another show that a lot of curiosity about this one, Hugh Jackman, October 10th.
Yeah. A lot of people want to know, what is that? What's the show? And everything I've heard is amazing.
People do not.
Go ahead.
People do not realize that he got his start in musical theater.
Yeah.
And so he actually won a Tony Award.
So
in a
he'll
show
be
called The
doing-
Boy from Oz, and then Greatest Showman, that movie.
Right. So he's going to do songs from both
Yeah.
those. He'll do songs from Oklahoma, which he did a stint on Broadway. Les Mis.
Les Mis, the movie.
Which he did, of course. So yeah, it's a lot of those songs. It's a song and dance night.
Yeah.
It's a
Plus, you just see a movie star.
I think that's probably the cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see him rip his claws through somebody.
That's right.
Do the Wolverine.
That's the old, if he's going to really do it
man.
right.
I wonder if he just makes a joke or two about that.
I'm sure.
I bet he
I
does.
really just want to see more of the sideburns.
Yeah.
That's it.
Chainsmokers, October 13th, along with 5 Seconds of Summer and Lennon Stella, and Celine Dion, October 20th. That's just a few of the shows coming up in September and October here at the arenas.
So, and one show that we kind of saved till the end is Jurassic World Live Tour.
Oh, man.
September 26th to the 29th.
First place on the planet, you can see it.
First place, right here at the Schott. September 26th. It will open, play through the 29th.
One of those show business things, the world premieres in Chicago after us, right? So the world, that's the world premiere of it. But we are the kind of
Are
soft
you
opening.
supposed to say that?
Soft world premiere.
That's the world premiere. That's how Chicago is promoting
Well,
it.
here's the. So my curiosity for you two is, if okay, so I like the movies.
Right.
What's the show? What do you know about the show?
Yeah, they've got these huge dinosaurs, right? So it is. They have, Jurassic World has been working, heavily with, the Universal Studios folks. They're putting a lot of time and effort into this because they're rolling out this product in a way where they want it to represent their brand. They're very protective of the brand, right? So Universal is really watching over this, and it is a kind of a continuation of what you saw in the movies. So it's that Jurassic World experience. So it's kind of its own unique story, but there will be full-size T-Rexes roaming around on the floor of the Schott, and it's just going to be
with blinking eyes, with movements, and apparently the skin is authentic to how they were. What? I don't know how long. 50 million years ago.
Right, yeah.
And I was speaking to the director of Orton Hall that has some dinosaur museum over there, and he said that you can tell what their skin was like based on the fossils. So
if you have a kid who's into dinosaurs, right, this is a can't miss night.
It seems like it. And is it going to be a full house, like a half house? How does this?
It'll be a full house. Yeah, it'll be a full house. Yeah.
So the full arena.
Yeah, no, it will. It'll be almost like an end stage show.
Got it.
Where there will be a kind of a where the stage would be, but there'll be a curtain. But that's for the dinosaurs to enter and exit through the arena.
Got it. Some of the dinosaurs from the movie, a couple of new characters. The actors that are inside the costumes.
Whoa. Actors inside costumes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They're called Dinoteers.
Dinoteers.
It's in their publicity.
Yeah.
So
is that right?
You scared me for a second.
So they're okay with it.
You ruined it for me.
Yeah, my magic's gone.
But they have to be athletes.
Of course they do.
They're either dancers or athletes. They are
Yeah.
carrying about 120 pounds on their
person.
Yeah. In this show.
Yeah, USA Today just did
a
great profile on these guys, and we got the link to that on our social media pages. But it's gonna be an amazing night. And again, first place on the planet. You can see it right here in Columbus.
All right,
so
you sold me. You did it.
We are going to give our listeners a chance to win a family 4-pack for Jurassic World Live Tour, September 26th through the 29th. And all you have to do, it's very simple. We're going to do a drawing on September 15th at noon. We'll just say noon.
All right, let's say noon.
On September 15th.
I'm gonna hold you to
All
that.
you have to do is follow the Arena Guy on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and then send me a message. You can say whatever you want, but include Jurassic World. If you just send me a message that says Jurassic World, that's good enough. You'll be in the drawing to win 4 tickets to Jurassic World Live, the kickoff of the entire tour right here at the Schottenstein Center, September 26th, and goes through the 29th. So check that out. And, of course, all the shows that Dave mentioned and more can be found at the SchottensteinCenter.com or nationwidearena.com. And, Jerod, before you go, I know that's something that you're very passionate about. In fact, you mentioned it in our Fast Break segment. What is your passion? You said autism.
Yeah.
You are very involved in that. The Autism Puzzle is a show that's actually won, I believe, 4 Emmy Awards.
That's right.
That you produce, you anchor, and you're very close to the autism
community
because of
your sons.
Your sons.
Yeah, both my sons are diagnosed.
So talk a little bit about that and how important this is to you.
Well, the cool thing is, it's just sort of this fortunate thing where, happened to be in the city. And, when my sons were born and grew up here and became apparent that they were going to be on the spectrum, the opportunities that are available to them here in the city with not only with Children's Hospital, but with the independent schools that are here. My boys, for example, go to a school called Bridgeway Academy, which is an autism-specific school, and it is an extraordinary place where they take great care of them. And, every kid with autism is different. Every kid is unique.
Sure.
And their skill sets, their abilities, and, the things we were talking before the show about, a show like Jurassic World, for some kids with autism, might be the most incredible experience of their life. And for some, it might be the most terrifying.
Sure.
Because of the sights and the sounds. And so every kid is different. And it's one of those things that, I as a parent am always thinking about, what's the best scenario, the best thing to do, how do we help? They're doing great. They're great kids. And, my objective, and the reason that, I've continued to work on it, I work with the Autism Speaks community here I've chaired the walk a few times here. Matter of fact, when the walk was at Ohio State years ago, the walk now is at Columbus Commons downtown. And this October the 6th, it's a Sunday, that is this year's walk. And it is a huge event. It'll be on the morning of the 6th. It'll be at the Columbus Commons. It's a wonderful way to spend a Sunday morning. And it's one of those like, it's Sunday, I don't want to get out of bed. You know?
Sure.
Like, oh, you'll be motivated when you get there.
Yeah.
You'll find it
Yeah.
because it's wonderful families doing wonderful things. And it's not just kids. It's adults. Kids with autism growing to adults with autism. And how do you take care of them? And that's why that passion has not gone away. Because I'm following the life cycle. So, my kids started, we were gung-ho about, kids. And as they're getting older and as I'm thinking long-term about, what are we going to do about, potential job training or what can they do functionally? How will they live? Can they live independently in a group situation? Are they always going to live at home? We always just constantly thinking about what opportunities are there. And, everybody's got their own thing, right? Everybody's got the thing they're passionate about and curious about and trying to raise money for and all that business. And obviously I'm the exact same way with that, but it's not just for, my eyes have been opened to what's out there and what we can do to improve the situation. So that's why I've been, so interested in it. And, it's a thing that you stick with because you realize how much it matters to so many people.
Yeah. Is there a place anybody interested could go to get more information?
Yeah, you go to autismspeaks.org.
Okay.
Great website. You can go there. You can find, that's a great starting point because you can learn more about it and you can learn specifically about what you can do in Columbus. You can go to the link, the Autism Speaks Walk. You can find a walk in your neighborhood, which obviously for us is Columbus. You can go straight to that walk page. You can learn about how to fundraise. You can learn about events that are going on other than the walk. And I encourage you, in your local school district, wherever you live, if in any of the boroughs or in the middle of Columbus, to work with your schools on making sure that they have a great system in the public school system for kids with autism and how they're, every year it's evolving and we're doing better and better. But
there's a long way to go.
It is a long way to go. And obviously the big part of that is we battle for funding every year with school districts and cut out, unessential programs essentially. And that's to me where we struggle the most is making sure that we have the resources necessary to do a good job to serve all the students. And that's what I encourage you to do.
It is awesome. Great work there.
Thanks, sir.
And what a pleasure it's been for you to be here.
It's been fun.
Today.
It's been fun.
It's been
I've enjoyed talking about literally nothing that I would ordinarily talk about at work.
Which is good.
Well, that music does mean we are wrapping it up. So, Jerod, thank you so much for joining us today. The
Enjoy
Arena Guys Backstage Pass podcast is hosted by Gary the Arena Guy and Dave Redelberger. Thanks to our special guest today, NBC4 Sports Director Jerod Smalley, Executive Producers Aaron Thomas and Jordan Fair, Producers Oliver Zapata Ramirez, making his final appearance. Thanks, Oliver.
Good luck. Thank you, Oliver.
CJ Martino on his first time on the board. For concert info, go to SchottensteinCenter.com or NationwideArena.com and be sure to subscribe to the Arena Guys Backstage Pass podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Dave Redelberger.
And I'm the Arena Guy. Thanks for listening.